What if ACOWAR isn't actually meant to be a love story? What if it's the book that's supposed to pull us out of the romance and into something much bigger?
Because while Feyre and Rhys are taking a step back from the spotlight, we are shifting towards side characters, politics, and world building that is changing Prithian as we know it. Some readers may call it the slowest book in the series, but it might actually be the most pivotal, supposedly. So stay with us, because by the end of this episode, we're going over details, theories, and our final ratings. So you'll want to
That's
see
right.
that.
In this episode of Book Bits and Chill, we're picking up part 2 of A Court of Wings and Ruin. We'll take you through the wall coming down all the way to the end of the war. We'll break down which characters passed the ultimate test and which flopped. And then we'll also keep our romantasy refereeing up in full steam because, we have a lot of green flags, probably more red flags and a few beige flags. Plus, we'll give our full re-review of ACOWAR and share the fan theories and tie-ins to ACOTAR 6 that have us the most excited.
Woo!
All right, so I think we're going to kick off with our recap.
Oh yeah, we left off, like Cass said, with the wall going down. And everybody is like, what are we going to do? We have to save the humans ASAP. And sweet little
Pronto.
Elaine is like,
Emily's number one character.
my number one character has some beige flags in this. Calling a beige flag already. Elaine is like, let's go see my man and see if his dad will be willing to take the humans in behind their fortress to protect them during the war. So she's got this grand plan where she's going to glamour herself to look not Faye, but then at the same time is having these conversations with the inner circle where she's like, but you guys can't glamour yourselves because they'll know immediately because they have these Fae scenting hounds. But for some reason, Elaine can glamour herself.
Yeah. Like, literally, she's just pulling at any straw at this point to go back to this human man.
Yeah, she's just desperate. So she gets back there, and who goes with her? I actually was so confused about who was included in this side trip.
It was Rhys, Nesta, Feyre, and Azriel. Oh, and more.
And so they get there, and the little fiance comes out, and at first I thought he was really happy to see her, but then the dad comes out from behind him and is like, we are not happy to see you. We're very upset you're here, and you're not going to trick us because you know who told us that you're actually a fae? In walk Jurian.
Bum bum.
And at this point, I knew he was somewhere in the background, but I did not expect him to pop up like this. Did not expect him to show up in the human realm.
No,
and he drops a bomb on us. He is like, I actually am siding with the humans, therefore siding with you guys, and I am against Hybern, and I'm here to tell you all his secrets.
Yep. And so he literally goes gossip hour with them, out of nowhere.
And I was immediately why are we trusting him? Nobody really questioned it right off the bat. They were kind of like, ooh, interesting. Didn't expect you to be a spy.
I do think he kind of tried to pull at their heartstrings because he was like, we fought together in the first war. Me. He told Moore that they were fully friends and they fought side by side. And she's like, huh, I guess that's true.
Yeah. I thought that was a heartwarming story as well, but I was like, what about everything that happened in between then and now?
Right. What about the time you were in a ring? Your eyeball was in a ring.
Yeah, so they really trusted him right away. Maybe it was Morgan the truth teller. Maybe this is where her powers come into play that we have not seen. So they're like, we're all going to side together. They're going to take the humans behind the fortress. Now they know some of Hybern's side hustles that are going on, and they're like, we got to get back to the summer court. Hybern's about to attack.
Yep.
So they get back, and this is a very infantry style battle. It felt like watching a Civil War reenactment in a way.
We were teleported into a History Channel reenactment.
It was the Illyrians and the Darkbringers were literally flanking, and it was lines. They were in formation. Hybern's coming from the other side. It was giving watching 300, watching Troy. The Greeks have arrived.
It's so true. Because the big thing, that was one of the big bombs that Jurian dropped. He's like, yo, Hybern's about to sneak attack on your asses. And they're like, oh shit. And so to your point on Troy, like it very much felt like this like Trojan horse moment for that. They're like, haha, like we're one step ahead when you think that you're one step ahead.
But also at the same time, Moore and Feyre are like not involved in the war. They're like sitting atop a hill watching this all happen. And I don't really know what the decision behind that was.
I think Moore was literally just babysitting Feyre.
But why couldn't Feyre be a part of the battle after what she did in the other battle?
She had said herself, like, she had never seen organized battles. She had never been a part of it. Like,
True.
she felt very comfortable, like, when things were, like, surprise, snap attack, like, feral fighting. Like, she could get into that. But when she was talking about, like, I need to be, like, a part of an army, like, a part of a legion, like, I don't know that I'm comfortable with that yet because I just don't understand it.
Yeah, she was like, I am, like, not mentally prepared to kill people, like, hand-to-hand combat.
Right, exactly, which is
So,
fair.
she decides, though, that her part in this, because things are not going well. The Darkbringers are dropping like flies. Hybern's pushing in. And Feyre's like, you know what my part in this is going to be? I'm going to go find the cereal for the 7th time in this series and figure out how we can beat Hybern and where they're like located at.
And Moore at this point is just like dying to get down there, especially because like at this point Cassian like looks like he's about to go down.
Yeah.
And Pharaoh's like, just go down there, like use your strengths, use your powers, like I'll stay here. And Moore leaves and then she's like, going to find a cereal. Ciao.
Moore is getting screwed over left and right in this book. Like everybody is stabbing her in the back. I actually feel really bad for her.
The truth-telling powers are really not working in her favor.
No, not at all. So Feyre goes to see the cereal, and at this point, I'm like, oh, she's going to use her usual tricks to like capture the cereal, and the cereal is like, no, actually, I am like not even going to need to be captured. I'll just come out and talk to you.
I'm here.
And so the cereal comes out, and she notes that she's wearing like a new coat and
Cloak, a brand new
She's
coat.
got her new fashionable winter gear on.
The cereal's wearing golden goose.
And so the cereal comes out and she asks her a lot of questions. I was like, I thought you only got like one question per cereal.
Wait, is the cereal female?
She is right now in my memory. I think that I don't think I gendered the cereal in the last 2 books, but right now it's a female.
I don't think I gendered him either, but I think that SJM specifically calls him a him. Cereal does give female energy, though. Like,
yeah,
that
I felt
bitch.
like specifically this scene was very mothering, which you'll see.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
I thought that she was only allowed 1 question. She gets like 5 questions in. And I actually don't remember what the questions or answers were, but what was the gist of it?
Basically, like, where is Hybern right now? What are his plans? What's the deal with the Book of Breathings? And so he's like basically answering, he's like, Hybern is like actually 40 times bigger than you think. And like, he's like pulling a complete one over on you right now. Like, he's actually marching south towards the human lands when you guys thought that he was marching north. And she's like, oh, fuck. And then he's like, Amren's missing the part in the Book of Breathings where she can not only like nullify the cauldron, but she can just like defeat Hybern entirely. And those are like the big nuggets that she gets.
That's the part I was missing.
He also tells her about the mirror. Because she's like, what the fuck am I about to see in this mirror? And he's like, you can do this. Like, you don't have to let this mirror break you, curse breaker. And she's like, okay, the cereal told me, so it must be true.
I actually hate that they keep calling her the curse breaker because I just don't think she deserves that.
Okay, she did break a curse for an entire race of people.
I guess it's a very literal one, but they're giving it a little too much meaning, too much emotion behind it. But the reason that I don't remember what any of the cereal questions were because I have PTSD from what happens next. The cereal all of a sudden shot from the side, ash arrows are flying through the air. He's down, he's bleeding. Where are they coming from? Here comes Ianthe and two Hybern soldiers like out of the woods, and they're like, "We've been tracking you. That nice winter cloak that we gave the cereal, tracking device."
This part, I was like, no, I think I was literally reading this at like 11:30 and I was like, how is this making me emotional for the second time? Like, I was so emotional the first time I read this, but the second time I was like, oh my God, I think I'm going to die. I can't
But
handle this.
also talk about a grudge holder. Ianthe's pissed because she got her hand bashed in. Did they even
True.
describe if it looked any better? I don't think they did.
No, it barely did because Feyre like planted in her mind that she like was not to go see a healer about it.
You're so good at remembering these little details. Every friendship needs both sides. A
It's
little
true.
fun and a little fact.
Exactly. I like to think that I'm fun on occasion, but yeah, I'll throw you some facts whenever you need it.
Anyways, I forgot to mention, like, let's talk about facts. I forgot to mention they're in the middle when this is all happening. The cereal had been outside of the Weaver's cottage. And so Feyre's like, I gotta figure out how to get rid of these three so that I can try to save the cereal's life. So she goes into the Weaver's cottage, and the Weaver's like, happy to see you again. What have you brought me, little thing? And she's like, just hold on a second. I need to hold this door open with all of my strength. So she's like keeping this magic door open, and in run Ianthe and the two Hybern soldiers. She flings herself out, traps Ianthe in. The Weaver gets dinner, lunch, breakfast, and a snack.
She's full. She's been fed.
But the cereal is still injured. Feyre goes out, is like, I think I can save you because I saved Rhys when this happened. And the cereal's like, I'm already gone. Just let me go. All I want is for you to stay here with me. So she stays there with her, holds his hand, like lets him pass in peace. Cries over the body. It's very sad. It's very sad.
It was so sad. And
Yeah.
I think that he like his like parting words basically were like, leave this world a better place than you found it, or like something like that. And I was like, God, the cereal just wanted peace.
Was the cereal even a monster?
I don't know, supposedly, but I'm like, the cereal never did anything.
To other people, maybe, but not to Feyre.
Maybe. I like to think that he was misunderstood.
Out comes Helion out of nowhere. I'm like, what are you doing in the middle? People like are scared of the middle. Nobody ever comes here. Helion's just like walking through the forest, and you're like, I don't really know why you're here, but I guess thank you because Feyre really needs help right now.
Yeah, big time. He's like, yo, it is not safe out here. Come on.
And so they go back to the war camp with whatever information they found. The war is over, correct?
Yes.
They barely survived, but they did win. There's injured people everywhere.
Yeah.
And what happens from here?
So Feyre gets back and she like goes into the tent, and it's a terrible scene. Like, she's just watched the cereal die, and she walks into this tent, and literally Cassian is like one breath away from death. Like, everyone is like sitting Shiva next to him. Everyone's upset. Rhys is like, oh, hi, where you been? And she's like, oh, you know, I went to get answers from the cereal. Like, how did the battle go? Rhys is like, well, we won narrowly, but like Cassian did something fucking stupid, and now he's here. And she's like, oh God, like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, you know, next time you decide to disappear, like, maybe you just leave a note. Like, and she's like, okay, you're right. And then she's like feeling bad about herself, and she's like, was this childish that I like did this and I didn't tell anyone? And he's like, no, you made the call that you needed to, like, and he like just completely flips the switch. And I was like, Rhys, like, you are kind of being a simp right now. Like, you can't be like this, like, you can't be pissed at her like a little bit and then just like let it go and then just like validate her bad decision making. So Cassian wakes up, he gets healed, and Rhys is like on him like white on rice. He's like, how dare you disobey my orders? How could you do this? And Cassian like just literally cracks open his eye. Like, he's the general of these armies. Like, he was just doing his job, and Rhys actually eviscerates him immediately. And it's like, wait, what? So you know who does call out Feyre more? She's like, Rhys trusted me to look out for you. I went down to the battle. You told me nothing of your plans and just disappeared. She's like, who do you think that Rhys got pissed at when he realized realize that you weren't here. It was me. And she was like, maybe he's not willing to tell you, like, call you on your shit, but I am. And so she's going off on Feyre. Feyre turns it on her and is like, you know who's a liar? You act like you are in love with Azriel, in love with Cassian, but then you don't make a move on anyone or anything. Like, you've been lying to yourself. You're lying to all of us. And Mora is like, get out.
Red flag on the field. Feyre, red flag gaslighter. This girl needs to literally sideline herself.
I could not agree more. That was such a red flag. I was like, you can't actually take any shit from anyone. Like, truly. Like, you dish it out left and right. Like, you're a sassy little bitch to literally everyone. But, like, the second that anyone calls you on your shit, you're like, oh, I'm going to fucking tear their asses down. Like, that's not okay.
Also,
Red flag.
like, everybody just died. Like, literally everybody. And she's choosing this time to call her on her, like, sexuality. It's like, first
Like,
of all,
her
don't.
love life.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not the time. And Archeron shows up with the Book of Breathings because they got this information from the serial. Another piece of information that we got from the serial that we totally forgot is that he told Feyre about how to find Hybern. And Nesta turns out to be the key to that because of her connection with the cauldron. So he's like, all you have to do is get some bones and stones, have Nesta hold them, throw them out on a map, and you'll basically map quest to Hybern. And so they pull Nesta and Archeron into a tent and they tell Nesta what she needs to do. And she's like, fine, I'll do it. Nesta holds these things and she's basically like teleported into where the cauldron is, like basically is like looking at the cauldron from like outside of her body. And we are able to understand this because Feyre ends up like going into her mind with her, which props to Feyre to like for even knowing to do that because Nesta ends up like kind of getting stuck there. She's like, oh, shit. And the cauldron ends up realizing that she's there too. And so Feyre is the one that like helps pull her out of it. And the bones and stones like fall immediately onto Hybern's location.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when they realize they're like, oh God, we really have been bamboozled. Hybern is not where we thought that he was supposed to be. And so then they have to like sit and plot and plan. And meanwhile, Nesta's like shook up because she's like, I swear to God, the cauldron like looked me in the eye. So later that night, everyone's asleep and Feyre is awoken by a dream where she's basically seeing the human guy that Elaine is in love with. And he's like calling to her and saying like, please come with me. Like, I forgive you. Come with me. And she's like, that was weird. And she wakes up and she's like, something's wrong. Like, I don't feel right. And she comes out of the tent. Nesta's already running towards her. And she's like, do you feel it too? And so they're like, someone check on Elaine. And Nesta runs into her tent. She's gone. Elaine is nowhere to be found.
She loves that guy. She really does. I was like, actually, this woman's committed. She's loyal.
She is loyal.
She loves him so much.
To a concerning level, but whatever. So we learn that the cauldron actually abducted Elaine and like basically like put this vision in her head of the cauldron being Rhysand. And everyone's freaking out. Nesta's literally about to pass away. And Azriel steps up immediately and is like, I will go get her. Like, I'm going to get her. Don't worry. And Feyre's like, I'm going with you. And so this is actually where Feyre, in my mind, gets a lot of props because she might not be able to get into battle, but she is able to like really get on board with the mission.
Yeah, she does. She's willing to throw herself in harm's way for a side quest.
Big time. So she ends up glamoring herself as Ianthe because she's like basically betting on the fact that Hybern doesn't know that she killed her with the Weaver however long ago. And this is also where she gets mad respect because she just literally, her and Azriel just like walk into Hybern's camp, just are like, this is what's happening. Like, this is what we're doing. And Hybern's tent is like, of course, in the middle of this just like massive war camp. And she ends up stumbling upon Jurian, who immediately knows that it's Feyre. He's like, hi.
Okay, I had the same reaction as I did when Elaine tried to glamour herself. I'm like, how are these glamours not working, but people are sure they're going to?
I'm just so interested to learn more about Jurian because he has like these sixth senses that a lot of these other characters don't, that just constantly shock me.
He's full human.
Yes, but it's just wild.
So when he was trapped in the ring, did it like cryo freeze his body and he didn't age?
I think so.
Interesting. But then he was made again. Like, that's how, like, the king of Hybern made him. So maybe
Yeah.
he's not all human anymore.
Maybe not. That's true. We don't really know. And so when she sees Jurian, she also sees these like humans basically like staked. And
Mm.
there's this one girl who's like still alive who they're basically like torturing and tormenting. And Feyre's like, we can't just leave her. Like, we have to take her with us. And so Jurian's like, all right, listen, I'll get you to the Hybern tent. I will get this girl to the end of this ridge, and that's all I can do. And she's like, okay, deal. So they go into this tent, they find Elaine. And Elaine, of course, is like shackled up. And she's like, oh my God, you came to Azriel. And he's like, of course. And I'm like, Feyre, your sister's right here. So they get Elaine out. And they're sprinting towards the end of this ridge because this entire camp is warded. And so their like powers are nullified. They're not able to winnow in or out. And so basically this ridge is like the end line to where these wards are. And so they're sprinting. And the sun is coming up as they're sprinting. I am literally dripping in sweat at this point, too. And Feyre's glamour has fully worn off. She's like running in her Illyrian leathers, like obviously, Azriel's running with his big old bat wing, so it's like immediate target. So they are just raining down ash arrows on these two. They're ducking, they're dodging, they're diving. Feyre ends up like getting her own like quiver of arrows. She's like shooting down these hounds that are chasing after them, but it's like becoming very narrow. And these hounds are like basically like snapping at their ankles. And who jumps in? Tamlin. So Tamlin comes in his beast form and takes down these hounds like left and right who are literally about to...
Didn't expect that. Did not expect that again for him to be on their side.
No, plot twist. Honestly, props to Jam for this because I really did not see that coming. And so he ends up like keeping off some of these hounds, but there's like a million of them apparently because they start to like swarm Tamlin and they're still running for this ridge. And so Jurian made good on his promise. He left that girl at the end. She's like definitely confused at like what the fuck is going on. And they get there and the Feyre and Elaine are like, grab onto Azriel if you want to live. And she's like, what? And Elaine is like, grab onto him. I'm like, this is the first time that I've seen Elaine speak in a tone that is more than a whisper. Like, she is yelling at this girl.
She loves humans. She loves humans.
She loves humans. Azriel carries Elaine and this other girl out across the ridge. And he's like, Feyre, you're going to have to jump and you're going to have to use your fucking wings. So figure it out. And so she's like, okay, here we go. I'm either going to jump and I'm going to die on this dive or I'm going to actually fly. And so she runs for it. And of course, like as she's running for it, there's a hound that's like literally right on her tail. And Tamlin somehow breaks away again from the other hounds that he's fighting and takes down this hound and ends up winnowing away after he gets through the ward barrier.
I was wondering what happened to him. I thought he got like, he just stayed there and I'm like, did he not get tortured to death?
No, the second that he broke through the barrier also, he was like, outie. So Feyre also gets through and she ends up flying for the first time successfully. She was like, holy shit, I can use my wings. This is shocking. They winnow back to the camp. And Nesta, shockingly to me, I don't know if this was shocking to you, but like did not immediately like go grab Elaine. She like immediately runs up and hugs Feyre and she's like, thank you so much. And I burst into tears at this part. I was like, oh.
I thought that was so sweet because I feel like Feyre's kind of been begging for her attention for about 2 books now.
Desperate. She's literally been desperate.
Like you said, you have to give Feyre some props for that rescue mission. So I was glad that she got it from Nesta and it wasn't just re-simping over her again.
Exactly. And it was a very like sweet sister moment. Like they afterwards, Nesta and Elaine end up like sleeping with her like they used to in their like dilapidated cottage. Like it was very, very sweet. So I did really like that part. And that whole rescue mission was just bananas. So Feyre wakes up in the morning. She's like, oh, I need a chill morning. I need a moment to myself. Mor shows up. She's like, we gotta talk. And Feyre's like, okay, like fine. And so Mor ends up pulling Feyre to the side. They're like in the woods out of earshot from everyone. And she's like, you called me out the other day and that really hurt, but you were right. Like I have not been honest with myself. I have not been honest with any of you guys. Like I have kept something to myself for like way too long. And she uses this time to come out to Feyre as that she prefers females. And so she like explains to Feyre her whole background, where she's like known since she was younger, but within their culture, this just wouldn't be acceptable because females are essentially bred to like breed other kids and that's it.
Mhm.
And so that's why when she was supposed to be married to Eris, she's like, I can't do this. I will literally be just only used for breeding and that's it. And so she ended up hooking up with Cassian because she could see at that point that Asriel had feelings for her. And she was like, I don't want to lead him on. And so she has basically spent the last 5 centuries not
Uh-huh.
telling Asriel, fully gaslighting him, but like stringing him on too, because she's like, I love him so much. And Feyre's like, okay. She's like, you know what? Whenever you do decide, I have your back. I'm here. I support you. And I thought that that was a good response because I was like, you could call out a lot here on
Yeah,
how she's treated Asriel.
it was a good response, but also I did not understand her reasoning whatsoever because this inner circle is supposed to be like BFFs, no secrets between them, like they're closer than ever. Nobody's expecting more to procreate at this point.
Right.
So,
Like,
like, why can't she tell them?
I I think it's just her like, probably not accepting herself and like loving herself fully yet. And I feel like probably when we do I'm sure we're gonna get a more book at some point. I feel like
Oh,
that's
God.
probably gonna be her journey, if I had to
Hopefully, a
imagine.
novella.
Hopefully it So after we have this moment with Farah and Moore, we end up finding out that Hybern has actually been fucking with all of them to get them to like drain their powers
Mm.
because the way that he is going to the human lands, they have to like cross a river to get over it. It's like a whole deal. And so they would literally have to winnow their entire army over this river. And so he's like, ha. Can't wait to see you in battle, like at fucking 20%. Like, literally, good luck. And Farrah's hearing all of this, and she's, of course, like, I gotta go get a mirror. I gotta go look in a mirror. And she goes and gets it and looks in this mirror. And the description of this is so wild. She like sees this like beast behind her. It's like a black
Yeah.
beast with like big talons, like whatever. And she's like, what in the fuck is that? Turns out it's just like her on the inside. And so she ends up going through this like spiritual journey with the mirror. We don't get the full glimpse into it. We only see
Right.
the beast,
It was
which
so,
honestly, I
like
was fine with that. It's like,
it
I
was
don't need that. I know need more.
it was so anticlimactic, like,
Yeah.
it was like, this whole time you're purposely not going to get this mirror because it's going to shatter you mentally and you may never be a sane person again. And then she looks in it and she's like, I've seen the beast within and I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yes. So she goes and gets the bone carver and she's like, here's your fucking mirror. And he's like, fine, I'll fight in your battle because I really just wanted to see that you were worthy of me fighting for you. And she's like, what?
Yeah, cool.
Cool, bone carver. So Feyre sets up yet another bargain at this point with another
Yep.
magical creature. And so the next day we cut to no one knows that she's done this. She's like gone on a complete
Again.
other side quest again. And they march their forces into battle. Everyone knows it's about to be grim. Like they have a full goodbye scene where Rhys was basically like, here is what every single one of you mean to me, which was very sweet. I did really
Yeah.
like that part. But it was very grim.
I actually am prepared to tell this battle story.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
Okay, so they
I'm
go
ready.
into battle. I'm ready because this was maybe the only part of the book I liked.
Oh God. Okay. Take it
So
away.
they go into battle against Hybern and out Feyre like whips out the bone carver, Bryaxis, and the Weaver. And she's like, sorry,
Well,
bitches,
Rhys
you didn't.
did the Weaver, right?
Rhys did do the Weaver. I guess I just figured it was her because she was the last person that saw her.
That was why Helion was in the middle at
Oh,
random.
you're right. That's why Helion was in the middle because Rhys had sent him to go make a bargain with the Weaver to join the battle. And this was so funny because the Weaver walks out wearing Ianthe's outfit.
Yeah. She's like, look at me, baby.
So funny. I was like,
It was so funny.
literally, Ianthe deserved this. It is so comical. So
Yeah.
the Weaver's like walking out onto battle with Ianthe's little outfit on with her blue jewel. The bone carver's out there looking like a menace, and Bryaxis is like a storm of shadows, like ready to attack. They start attacking, and are just like ripping to shreds like mass amounts of people at a time. Like they're barely touching anything and hundreds of people are going down.
Uh-huh.
And so they're like, we are doing so well. This combined with the Darkbringers, the Illyrians, all of the High Lords that we have so far we're going to take this. But then Hybern starts utilizing the cauldron, and the cauldron is like emitting this like white light like ray that's just like hitting these forces and wiping them out. And they're immediately like, we're fucked.
This is over. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, too, the whole goal is for Feyre, Nesta, Elaine, and Amryn to all get to the cauldron. And
Right.
so basically the Weaver, the Carver, and Bryaxis were supposed to like pave a route for them to get over there and like provide a distraction so that Hybern's army didn't like see what they were trying to do.
And who goes down at this point? It's the Bone Carver.
Was it? Yeah, it was the Bone Carver.
And he was like happy going, which was kind of sweet because, again, was he really a monster? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if any of these beings were truly monsters, but
Yeah.
you know.
So he is like happy to pass because he's a death god and that's probably where he's happiest. So he
True.
goes, they're getting absolutely wrecked once again. I'm like, not this again. And then over the hill, here comes two massive armies that they didn't expect. It's the Autumn Court, the Spring Court. Where have they come from? They've come to rescue. Eris is leading the way. Tamlin's leading the way. There's hope after all.
Absolute bananas timing.
I love that though, because again, it was kind of more like a battle scene that you would in like a traditional war movie where they like think that all is lost and then like their savior that they had begged for help from 3 books ago finally shows up. I love those moments. And then they're like, oh fuck, Hybern's ships are like coming out of nowhere across the ocean. Like this is bleak once again. And then they're like, wait, those aren't Hybern's ships. Who are those? It's how do you say his name? Dracon and Miriam. Draken. Dracon. He's definitely Spanish in my mind.
In the audiobook, he did have a like Spanish sounding accent. Yeah.
So Draken and Miriam, who have never before been seen, have entered the battle, and Rhys like flies over there to like chat with them for a minute, and they're like, where have you been? And they're like, sorry, we just like accidentally glamored ourselves too well.
Yeah. The only glamour that's worked in this book.
And I was like, okay, it's kind of weird you're being like so chill about this. Everybody's been fucked while you've been in hiding.
It's so true.
And Feyre's like, oh, I didn't realize that you like had so many ships in your arsenal. Like, where have you been hiding these? And he's like, those aren't our ships. And she's like, oh, shit, it's Vassa and Lucian. And so they like all of a sudden shoot to like the sky, and Vassa is like flying around like a phoenix, right? It must be Vassa's ships. They didn't know she had that many ships. And Draken's like, you're wrong again. And we're like, what could possibly be happening right now? And he goes into this little tale and he's like, we ran into Vassa. She was with this human merchant. He calls himself the Prince of the Merchants. And he has 3 fleets of ships named after his 3 daughters, Nesta, Elaine, and Feyre. And I was like,
sobbing.
Everybody's sobbing. Family reunion. Draken and Miriam, never before seen, are here again. Light at the end of the tunnel. And also they're like, yeah, Lucian never found this girl. We found her on our way. And I get, where is Lucian even there?
Lucian is there. I was like, where are the coordinates in which they all just stumbled upon each other? Like, I'm very confused.
Busy sobbing, so I like didn't question too many things.
I have so many questions about the dad after this book, after rereading this book. Like, I think there were so many things that he knew about that we had no idea about because Feyre's the narrator. She had her own thoughts on the dad. Obviously, Nesta had her thoughts on the dad. And so I'm really interested, which this will maybe be a part of the ACOTAR 6 piece, but like when we get Elaine's POV, because she was way closer with the dad. And so I'm like, I wonder if he like slipped things to her that maybe might have indicated why he was so aware of what was going on. Like he was the one that was like, something is happening and like there's a threat to the human world. I need to go find these people to save them. It's like, how did he know?
Yeah. So I actually like that a lot. Unreliable narrator Feyre, because she didn't like him. I like her being unreliable.
You are a D1 waffler on Feyre.
Anyways, green flag for Papa Archeron. Green flag. He's come to save the day. He's on his fleet of ships and he's reunited with his daughters.
That's right.
I'm sobbing. I can't remember what happens because everything after this is a blur. So take us away, Cass.
So after this, they are reinvigorated because they're like, okay, we're maybe not fucked, but we need to get to the cauldron. So Nesta at this point is like throwing up on the ground. She's weak. She's meager because of her connection to the cauldron. And she's like, I don't know if I can like touch that thing. Like, I don't know if I'll survive it. Elaine, Emily's favorite character, chose to, at the beginning of the battle, stay behind because she's like, I've never seen battle. I'm too afraid. I don't know.
Okay.
And so,
but you were okay with it
is that
happening?
literally...
You were like,
is that what happened?
Yeah, but you were okay when Feyre did it earlier. Feyre was like, I have never done hand-to-hand battle. Like,
all Elaine needed to do was go to the cauldron. She didn't even need to get involved in the battle.
She's
she
a
was like,
seer. Maybe she saw what was going to happen and was like, this all works out. I don't need to be involved.
And of course, Asriel's like, Elaine, like, please protect yourself. Like, you can have Truth Teller, which is like his like special knife that he carries around. And apparently he's never given that out before, which was interesting. I was like, so the first person you give this to is Elaine.
Oh, well.
Interesting.
Yep.
So at this point, Nesta's like, I can't touch that thing. Elaine's out. We don't know where she is. So Nesta's like, let me provide at least a diversion for the King of Hybern to get him away from the cauldron. And Feyre and Amren, like, you go and try and do your thing. So Cassian's like, I'll take you. I will escort you in this diversion. So they fly away and Feyre and Amren are like, let's go. So they start making their way towards the cauldron, accompanied by the Weaver. The Weaver's like, I'm going to eat all of you bitches. I'm getting more beautiful by the second.
She is so funny in all of these scenes.
Hilarious. So they get to the cauldron and Amren's like, okay, you need to put your hands on the cauldron and then you are going to recite this thing, but 1 second, let me like open the book. And so Feyre
Why did this
directions.
Why did this like turn into a comedy in our retelling?
I don't know.
This is a very serious part of the book.
It is. So Feyre puts her hands on the cauldron and she is like whisked away. Like she becomes the cauldron basically.
Yeah.
And she ends up like getting this sneak peek into Nesta's diversion. And so Nesta has successfully drawn the King of Hybern to her. And so Nesta and the king end up facing off. Nesta's like waiting to, like, she's been like harnessing her power this entire time to like give him a death blow. And when he shows up, he's like, not so fast. He has Papa Archeron in his hands. He has a dagger to Papa Archeron's throat. And Papa Archeron is like, Nesta, I love you. Like, I failed you and I'm so sorry. But like, you've always been like my beautiful, strong girl. And like, I'm so proud of you. It was so sad.
It was so
I was
sad.
like, oh my God. Please.
It was so sad.
So Nesta is like, don't fucking kill him. And the King of Hybern's like, whoops, slices his neck. Or no, not slices his neck, snaps his neck.
Yeah. It was so quick. I thought there was going to be like a small chance like they could save him. No, like in 3 sentences, he was dead.
Snaps his neck right in front of his poor daughter. And Feyre is watching all of this secondhand and she's like, holy fucking shit. And so Nesta kind of goes feral and she like throws her power at the king. Cassian is like fighting the king. The king basically like fucks Cassian up. Cassian's like off to the ground. And when Nesta sees that, she's like enraged. She's like, don't touch my man that I have not yet made my man. And she throws her power back at him. The King of Hybern goes flying even farther, so she has like a little bit of time and she's trying to save Cassian. Cassian's like, go without me, please. Like, I'm done. And he's like, if my only regret in this life, I've never had to regret, but my only regret is that we didn't get more time. She's like, no.
Again.
And he reaches up and kisses her. And I was like, oh, baby, here we go.
I thought this was so sweet because he didn't like go feral kissing her. It was like a very like tender,
It was tender.
Yeah, and it was like a very romantic, which I thought was really cute that SJM described it as that.
I agree. I totally agree. So the King of Hybern makes it back and he's like, okay, no more of these fun and games. I'm about to kill you. And so Nesta's like, I'm going to shield Cassian with my body. Like, if he's going, I'm going to. Yeah. And who pops up behind him? Elaine. She's like, don't touch my sister. Slices him through the neck with Truth Teller.
Yeah, you thought she wasn't part of the battle, didn't you?
It's the most delayed thing ever to literally be worthless until the final moment.
But she doesn't kill
So,
him.
like,
He's just
she doesn't actually
flirting.
kill him. He's just literally drenched in his own blood, like dying, but not dead. And so Nesta takes the moment. She's like, I'm going to finish the job. She literally beheads him.
Crazy. Like, literally, like, the most dull sawing off of his head. Like, she had to put effort behind it, and she was
She did.
pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she like held his head in front of her at a certain point. And she's like, huh, interesting.
Actually had a question about the dad at this moment to myself. I wanted to be sad for him, but at the same time, I was like, does this make up for everything else he did?
I mean, a little bit. I'm like, he's kind of like his daughter Elaine. Like, he's only showing up at the final hour when it matters.
But he
Didn't do
was
anything up until this point.
literally letting them starve for like 19 years of their life, but then like
Right.
saves them.
Yeah, no, I think like rereading this, Nesta's like struggle in book 5 makes a lot more sense to me. Where I'm like,
Oh,
I think
okay.
she's just so what?
I'm like, I guess I'll find out.
But she doesn't remember. Sorry.
I-
Okay, spoiler, Nessa's depressed from watching her dad's neck get snapped. But that's like a big part of her struggle of like being so mad at him for what he did, but then like also like he redeemed himself, but then he died. And it was like, how do you grapple with that?
Him
So-
saving the day and then be like his next step is a good ending for him.
I mean, it was a heroic ending. So the
Anyways.
cauldron brings Feyre back, and meanwhile, Amryn is slapping like incoherent Feyre in the face. And she's like, "Wake up, girl!" And Feyre's like, "What did you just do?" And
Yeah.
Amryn, turns out, lied to Feyre because the Book of Breathings, those parts that the Suriel told her about, were not to necessarily kill Hybern like with a spell. It was to free Amryn with a spell. And so Amryn needed to get Feyre there because she was like, I know that you are strong enough to help me do this. And once I'm unleashed upon this army, like I will kill everyone, but then I too will go. And Feyre's like, shit, okay. So Amryn's like, I'm going to jump into the cauldron. You need to say the spell when I jump in and it'll unleash me. And so this happens and Amryn is unleashed as this like massive firebird phoenix something. Amryn wipes out the entire army, like literally in one fell swoop, and then she just like disappears into the day. And Feyre is like, holy shit. And she turns around, the cauldron is broken in 3 pieces. And Rhys shows up at this moment. And he's like, oh shit, Feyre, like, what happened? So Feyre tells him. But then as they're talking, there's like this fissure that opens up in the ground. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we can't just break the cauldron and have that be it. Like that magic has to go somewhere and like be housed somewhere. And so they essentially realize that without the cauldron, like their entire world could be like sucked into this like
A
magical middle essentially. And so they're like, we have to repair this, but we have no idea how. And Rhys was like, I know how. Like, you can be a conduit to my power, and we can use both of our power to rebuild this thing. And so Feyre's like, okay, cool. And like, meanwhile, he's like making jokes, whatever. And he's like, you know, I love you, but haha. And they end up bringing the cauldron back together.
Oh, God.
And afterwards, Feyre's like, we did it. She turns around. Rhys is dead on the
She
ground.
siphoned him to death.
Rhys does not have a heartbeat.
He knew the
She's
whole
like,
time.
He knew the whole time. He like whispered, I love you in his final moments. And she just like thought he was being like a sweet, loving husband. No,
No,
he's
he was
dying.
once again sacrificing himself while yelling at others not to do the same.
Exactly. So Feyre obviously has a mental breakdown. All of the High Lords have converged at this point, and we're taking it back to book 1 because she's like, give up your kernels. Show them to me. Like, this man just gave up his life to repair this cauldron, to fight in this war, to do all of these things for you guys. So you're going to give him your power. And so they all like reluctantly go and give him their power. And they're like, okay, the last person to give up their power is Tamlin, who genuinely pauses at doing it. He's like, ooh, do I want to do this? And Feyre's like, I will do anything, like anything. And Tamlin's like, is this my moment? Like, is this
Yeah.
my grudge moment? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. And so he clearly decides against it. He decides to be a mature adult. And he's like, be happy, Feyre. And he gives up his kernel. And then Rhys comes back to life. And you know who he pulls back with him? Amryn.
She was like floating in the broken cauldron the whole time.
She was just like, I think like suspended and probably in between like death and life where Rhys was. And he's like, yo,
In
you want to come
limbo.
back?
And yeah, and they held hands and came back. I really struggle with romantasy books sometimes because they will not let anybody die. Like,
They won't kill anyone.
everybody somehow comes back in the end. Like, I even have
agree.
thought that when I'm reading the Empyrean series. Liam's been
Right.
dead for 2 books, and I still think he's coming back in like book 4.
I've been convinced by like 40 different theories that he's coming back.
So I'm like, of course Amryn's not dead. Of course Rhys isn't dead. And I also want to know, like, where is the line drawn where the High Lords are like, we can't give anybody else any kernels?
Yeah. We can't just be handing out kernels like this. What?
Like, how do
Where
you
do we-
decide whose life is worth living and whose isn't?
I think you get berated by Feyre and like you don't really have a choice. But I do think in both scenarios it did feel warranted because both Feyre and Rhys in book 1 and in this book like gave up their lives to save the entire Fey race and like the humans and everyone. And so that to
But do
me
you
feels
think-
fair.
Do you think if Cassian would have like died on the battlefield, like leading the entire army, they would have saved him?
Probably not through the High Lords, but I feel like they would have been like, Feyre has magical healing powers, like bring people back from the dead.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't want anybody to die, but I did feel like it was a little bit forced savior.
No, I totally agree. That is one of my bigger gripes with romantasy in general is like, we gotta let go of some people. Like, sure, don't kill Rhys, but maybe just leave Amryn off.
Okay.
So anyway, so Rhys comes back to life and they're all like, you know, taking their time, rebuilding, healing everyone, all of that stuff. And so then they return to Valaris and do more reflecting on basically all that like could have happened to them, but then didn't.
Yeah.
And this is where we start to like really understand where the plot holes are that hopefully will be addressed later on. So we have the human queens. Where have they been?
Where
We're
are
pretty sure
they?
they're still ready to stage some sort of attack.
Right.
We don't know what those plans are. Vasa, we know that she is trapped by this death god Koschei, but we don't know where or why or how to even break her curse. She like thinks that Feyre can break it, and Feyre's like, I don't know how to do that. She has a court supposedly, and she's like offered Jurian to join it, but Jurian's like, how does a lost queen have a court? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
We don't know how Lucien and Tamlin are doing. We know that Lucian's going to stop in the spring court to have it out with his BFF, but we don't know what the result of that is. And finally, we don't know about Lucien and Elaine. What will happen? So there's a lot open here. Obviously, we know that Nesta's like starting to show her signs of depression. She's like clutching onto one of her wooden figurines that her dad made and
Yeah.
like going up and sleeping while everyone's drinking. So that's one. But there's a lot open that we don't know about at the end of the book.
Even though there's a lot of like loose threads, like you said, like floating in the ether, there's not like a big opening though for like what's going to happen in the next book.
I think there's a lot of open-ended questions about like how do you rebuild this world?
Which I get, but also doesn't seem like a significant book to me.
You just love a cliffhanger. Like, I think that you might be addicted to cliffhangers.
I just needed a little something. I'm like, okay, great story. Like, that was a full wrap for me. I could fully end the series right there.
That's fair. And maybe that was intentional because she does, after this, like go into the novella and then she pivots to Nesta and Cassian.
So, I don't know. Interesting ending to me.
All right, let's rank our characters. I think we
Okay.
have 10 plus Jurian, so 11. All right, let's start with our 11.
Wow, this is hard because like I love all of these characters this time around. Not
I
love,
know.
but like none of them are like I don't like despise any of them.
I think I'll probably give my 11 to Lucien because he wasn't really present in the
Yeah.
second half of the book. Like, he wasn't really a standout for me, so he's an
Why?
11 for me.
I was Lucian's like side trip giving like metal slinger boat scene to me. Like was he like on a canoe by himself dehydrated and like
He's
dying on the
just
ocean?
stuck at sea, maybe. Which, if that's the case, I'm sorry I give you an 11.
No, but he's my 11 too for the same reason.
My 10 is probably Tamlin.
Oh, my 10 is more.
What? Why?
Because I feel like she was just, like, not making any sense in this book. She was not using her powers to their full extent. She was, like, just pissed off. She was getting stabbed in the back, so I feel bad for her, but, like, I
Yeah.
feel like her whole storyline this book was, like, a complainer.
Oh my God.
That's real.
I disagree with that, but that that is your opinion. That's real.
That's real. Why was it Tamlin, huh?
Mine is Tamlin because he was supposedly playing spy, air quotes spy, but he wasn't giving any information up like Jurian was. And then waited until the last moment to show up in battle, waited till the last moment to give up his fucking colonel for Rhys. I'm like, this guy is just I hate that we have to depend on him at all.
Yeah, I guess I couldn't rank him lower because we did depend on him. Like, he actually, so many more people could have been dead without him.
Yeah, but that's my point of a gaslighter, where it's yeah, of course we can say that about him because he just happened to show up at the last minute.
But he did let Asriel and Feyre get away during the escape scene.
Yeah, but again,
so-
I'm if he was playing spy and great that he saved them. I thought that was a great moment, but he didn't do anything else as this double crosser.
Yeah, so that's why he's my next one. So Tamlin, then it's Tamlin, and then right above him is Jurian. And for me, it's the same reasons that you were just saying. They were spies that were being helpful, but there wasn't anything huge they were doing. But they did manage to inadvertently save a lot of people in this book. That's why they are 8 and 9. That is not a high ranking, but I do have to recognize.
But you still rank them above more.
Yeah, she was just pissing me off.
That was crazy. Okay, so Jurian was also by whatever we're at 8. I think after that, it's probably Elaine for me. For all of the reasons that I've already said, and I don't need to rehash because I think that they are backed up by factual evidence in this book that she was quite literally worthless until the final moment.
Okay, this is hard for me. I know this is cheating, but can I do just a middle pool of people?
No.
Yes,
I
can.
No,
I can.
It's a ranking. This isn't a pool.
No, I want to do a pool. Call it a red flag, but I need what are we even
I am calling it a red flag.
I have a pool of 4 people that are the center. I don't even know what rankings this is. It's 4 through 8, I guess. And it is going to be 4 through 8 pool of dark nothingness is going to be Elaine, Asriel, Feyre, and Rhys.
This is such a cop-out.
No, and they're all in there floating around because I think that they all had their moment in this book where they were it was thank you for you guys. You all had your moment. But I also think that they all had their downsides and were being rather annoying through this book, trying to give themselves up for the person they loved or trying to
Elaine?
sacrifice
When
themselves.
did she do that?
Elena, she didn't do that necessarily, but she had her moment where she came up and see, this is what I'm saying. They're a pool of people. They can float around in limbo together and all hold hands.
I actually could understand what you were saying about Feyre, Rhys, and Asriel. Elaine is not in this group.
There was a list of 10 reasons why they're all in the pool together. But my biggest reason is they all had their one big moment in my mind. Rhys, honestly, to me was just being so fucking annoying. The whole book simping over Feyre and letting her get away with so much shit. But then at the end, obviously, you have to thank him for putting the cauldron back together.
You have to.
So he can in the pool.
Wow. Okay. Well, let me think of who I'm throwing into my just random pool of nothingness.
You don't have to have a pool. I just want to be honest with myself.
Okay, well, I think my next one would be Moore, and for similar reasons that you were talking about, but she's definitely not my 10. And then probably after Moore, I would put Asriel, and then Cassian.
Ooh.
Yeah. Just because I thought that they both, like, really had similar to what you were just saying, like, they had their moments, like, their standout moments, but they weren't, like, core to the story for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that would probably be Feyre.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear this. We can stay friends.
She's at least in the top 4. She's not in this random pool of nothing.
She has the possibility of being a 4 in my pool. I am
Okay.
nothing but a truth teller. I tell more truths than Moore does.
Are you going to be able to rank your 1 to 3 or what? Is
Yeah,
that going to be
yeah.
a pool?
No, I can
Okay.
do my 1 to 3.
All right. My 3 is Amren.
Same.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that she obviously, like, saved the entire book.
And I liked at the end how she came back just as High Fae. Like, she didn't have her, like, crazy powers anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just like, that's cool. Like, I just want to live my life. And I was like, oh, Amren, let's go.
Yeah, I love that. You're going to have a lot of questions about what it means to not be a creature, but we'll deal with that later.
That's okay, though. There's a rebuilding book, and it's the Christmas special coming up. The next one, I think, for me is Rhys.
Okay, why? I can't imagine how he made it to number 2, to be honest.
There literally would not be a book without him. Like, you can admit that.
He could have died in book 2, and there would still be a book.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, Feyre would have ran the whole book, and it would have been all about a grudge.
Feyre doesn't know what she's doing.
She would have been the high lady, and she would have had to take control of her court.
You are literally saying this out of your own grudge. That is a red flag. Your own grudge against Rhys is clouding your understanding of the importance of Rhys in this book.
In the part 1 episode, you said you loved a grudge holder, so...
It's true, and I love you, but you're holding a grudge. And you know what you said about grudge holders?
I said they were annoying, I think.
Correct.
I just was so over Rhys and Feyre after this book. I was like, if they actually would have been, like, the main characters of the next book, I wouldn't have finished the series.
But, like, bias aside, like, Rhys as a main character was an instrumental main character in this book. Like, he was the one that, like, as a High Lord, brought together all of the other High Lords, like, brought together, like, the Illyrians, the Darkbringer, like, all of these people to aid in this war against Hybern. Like, without him, like, what other High Lord was going to step up and do this? Like, none of them were even prepared for this.
Well, if he maybe gave people a chance, they would step up, but he never gave anybody a chance. He just bulldozed over them.
This is crazy. Okay, I can't argue with a grudge holder because... There's not going to be reason here.
He could have been a 4. That's a pretty high ranking. He could be a 4 in the pool.
This is why this pool is complete and utter bullshit. Okay, both of our number 1s, it sounds like, is Nesta.
Yeah, and my number 2 was Cassian, and I feel like that's not going to be a surprise for you about how I'm ranking these characters because I'm just ready for their storyline. But I really did appreciate one call out how, like, they showed a lot about Cassian, like, being the general that everybody always, like, talked about how he was. And he really did. Like, he was, like, controlling these armies. And then I also loved, like, his romantic and soft moments with Nesta as, like, a contrast to that.
Yeah, I agree. I did really appreciate that this book, like, made me ready for their story. I think the Christmas special is nice because it's like it really wraps up Rhys and Feyre with, like, a nice little bow. And then you're just so... and you're just so ready to get to Nesta and Cassian in the next book.
But Nesta, I think it would be a strong argue if you didn't rank her number 1 because her, like, in this book, talk about instrumental. Like, she was literally the one that everybody was begging to show up in this book, and she did.
And she did. She showed up, and she had a lot of growth. Obviously, we know that growth recedes a little bit in the next couple of books. But we did really start to see snippets of, like, her starting to open up, starting to show other people that she cares, really wanting to help out with things. Like, I really appreciated her in this book in general. So, Nesta, you're our number 1.
Woohoo! And
you're number 1, baby.
We know that Nesta is a big crossover character, which gets us kind of into our ACOTAR 6 tie-ins and fan theories. So, did you have any that really hit home with you?
There are still a bunch with Azriel and Elaine.
Yeah.
Feyre at a certain point, like when Asriel's giving Elaine truth teller for whatever reason, Feyre is like, I saw the painting in my mind, the lovely fawn, blooming spring vibrated behind her. And then standing before death, which is Asriel, which
Yeah.
we have said maybe he's a prince of hell,
Right.
shadows and terrors lurking over his shoulder. Light and dark, the space between their bodies, a blend of the two. The only bridge of connection, that knife, which we also know that Truth Teller becomes a very important artifact in the last Crescent City in CC3
Yeah.
because Bryce ends up taking it from Asriel to use it against the Asteri.
Yeah.
So I
Spoiler.
thought that was really...
We should have probably said spoiler before that because a lot of people haven't read
Spoiler.
Crescent City.
Whoops. Okay, well, spoiler, jury's out if you actually need to read it. So I thought that was really interesting because I was like, I wonder if Elaine has some sort of tie to this knife similar to how Bryce did. And I'm like, does she have some of these like starborn powers that we don't really know about? Like, I don't know. I just thought that was a really interesting nugget.
I also have something, a similar vein of thought with Elaine. I literally cannot theorize for my life. So these are just more things I was noticing. And I will say I'm desperate for an ACOTAR 6 Throne of Glass crossover. Like, I know that Crescent City is going to be there. I don't really need them to be, but they will. But I could not stop thinking about the Throne of Glass witches during this whole book because of how witchy Nesta is, first of all. Like, literally in the war camp, whoever like leads the Illyrian soldiers, Lord Devlin or whatever his name was.
Yes.
He was like, keep that witch away from the females and children. And they were like, she's not a witch. And Nesta was like, yeah, I am. And I was like, okay.
She's like,
what?
Boo.
Yeah. And then I also feel like Elaine being a seer was like giving Major Baba Yellowlegs like at the fair during her little like carnival seerness. And I just like thought there was a lot of female witchy power in all of ACOTAR 6. And I don't know who at the end is going to come out as a witch, but I think that there is going to be a crossover somehow.
Definitely Nesta. For sure Nesta, which is maybe why we love her so much.
And because Amryn was so connected to Nesta in this book, I was like, does Amryn have chance of being a witch?
Wow.
I don't know.
I think definitely Nesta, which if Nesta is a descendant of any of these witches, like so are Feyre and Elaine. So
right. So that makes sense. So it's the three sisters, which I do see it for Elaine. I don't know how I see it for Feyre, but she manages to find herself in everything. But when I was getting curious about this, I saw a fan theory online that people think that the Weaver could be the three-faced goddess from Throne of Glass.
Interesting.
And I don't know who the three-faced goddess is, but
let's look it up.
They noticed that Amryn says when her and Nesta are throwing the stones and bones, they say 3 stones for the faces of the mother.
Yes, they did say that. I totally forgot about that. The three-faced goddess is one of the 12 gods of Aurelia. She is worshipped by the Iron Teeth witches and is the goddess of witchcraft and magic.
And so I think that's maybe why I started wondering if Amryn was tied into it too.
Yeah. Interesting. That portal that opened up after the cauldron was broken was like giving a word gate from Throne of Glass vibes.
100%. Even the way that it was like described, like what the opening looked like, it was giving that.
Yeah. It was very interesting.
And unfortunately, it did remind me in CC that like there are a lot of like portals that open up. It feels a lot more like spacey, but they do have a portal problem as well.
They also have a portal problem. That's what brought Bryce to Asriel at the end of CC2.
Yeah. So there's a portal problem in the Massiverse, and I think that Throne of Glass is about to fall through their portal.
I totally agree. And I think that people are literally feral for any Throne of Glass connection anywhere. So I think that it's most likely to happen in ACOTAR 6.
Yeah.
The other piece that I thought was interesting, like when we were talking about a potential more spin-off or hopefully novella, like we said. But did you notice in this book that they Feyre kept noticing the sister of Vivian
Yeah.
Vivian, who is Callias's wife, the High Lord of the Winter Court.
Yeah.
And she had a sister that was white-haired, and she was, like, randomly with Viv and Moore. And for some reason, there were 2 separate times where Feyre at random was like, "I saw Moore with this white-haired sister." And, like, this white-haired sister walked away with Vivian, and, like, Moore looked away, like, longingly or something. And then, like, when they were in the full battle with Hybern, the sister was, like, fighting alongside Moore.
Do you think they're just like lovers though?
I don't know, because people after Silver Flames think that Moore and Emery are going to end up together.
Who? Oh, is that one of the girls in the library?
No, that's Gwen. Emery is from Illyria and is like one of the women that they like clipped their wings. And
Oh.
she ends up like training with Nesta and Cassian and like becomes a part of the Valkyries. Okay, let's get into our re-review because I feel like there are a lot of thoughts here
Yeah.
that we have.
Yeah.
So overall, I think I would probably give this book a 4, which is interesting because on my first read, this was actually my favorite book
Okay.
at the point of reading it.
I'm glad that you are willing to give it a 4 because I gave it a 3.5 and I thought you were going to try to hit me with like a 5-star and I was going to have to be mad at you.
No, I think I docked it because now that I'm looking at the series as a whole, I think I'm giving it a 4 because I loved the side character development. Like, I love that it was a setup and a tee up for the rest of the series. Like, I thought that was great. I loved the political conflict and, like, how we saw more of the court dynamics, more of the dynamics between the High Lords. I loved the world building in this one. Like, we were literally, it reminded me of Onyx Storm, where you're, like, taken to all these different, but, like, I felt like in book 2 and in book 1, like you're literally only in the spring court and in the night court. And so I really appreciated it for those aspects. I think why I'm docking it is because Feyre and Rhys's romance did not hit like it did before.
No, it didn't. Yeah, I think for book 1 and 2, I was really into the romance. And so then when book 3 was world building, the first time around, I very much appreciated it. But the second time around, it was not scratching the itch.
That's fair. I can understand that. It is hard when the series was so built off of a lot of the romance.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like pivoting into this like big war, this big conflict, whatever. But I do feel like that's what I really loved about it.
Which is really
'Cause I was like-
interesting because when you first read Onyx Storm, you didn't love the world building. And then in the reread, you loved it. So this is kind of like the opposite.
But I don't know. I felt like with Onyx Storm, I like wasn't understanding how those things were it felt too drawn out, honestly, which I feel like you felt similarly about this.
That's how I felt about this. I was like, the first like 75% could have been like 200 less pages. And then the end, which you do know I love a good ending. So the ending that was like giving me chills, the battle scenes, like the family moment. I think that's what made it 3.5 stars for me versus 3 stars because for a while I was worried it was going to be 3 and under.
Yeah, and under.
Yeah, 3 and under.
Brutal. Okay, so for recommendability, what would you say for this? I personally, when I first read it, and I actually was just with my book club this week and we were talking about ACOTAR, and I was like, we just reread the 3rd book and I actually really enjoyed it, but Emily did not. And all of them who have not reread ACOTAR were like, the 3rd book was my favorite.
I wonder why.
So it's really interesting. Like, I don't know. I think it has like a special probably charm the first time around because like you're really introduced to a lot of these side characters in a very deep way.
Yeah.
So I feel like that could be why. But that's why I think my recommendability is probably mid because I'm like, if you really enjoy ACOTAR, like the first 2 books, I feel like the first read, you probably would enjoy this book.
It's hard to do recommendability for a book in the middle of a series because if you've made it this far, like, I recommend you finishing the series.
Yeah. I think I'm thinking about recommendability of like, if you were to skip a book in a series, for example, like don't skip this book.
No,
because
you're not skipping.
There is so much crucial stuff in this book and so much crucial information in this book that tees up the rest of the series that like if you were looking at it and you're like, oh my God, I just finished ACOMAF. It's 800 pages. I have 700 more pages to get through. Like, how will I survive? Like, you will.
Yeah.
push through.
I'm giving it, for that reason, like mid. You need to know the information in this book. Are you going to be highly entertained for a small portion of it? So I will give it a mid as well.
Okay, book club potential. This one's a hard one to rate for this
Yeah.
because, to your point, it's in the middle of a series. So if you're reading the series, it actually would provide a lot of good discussion points, I think.
Yeah. Like we talked a lot
So,
about what's going to come next. So if you're reading the series as a book club, keep it going, but don't
yeah.
just pick it up for your book club. No.
Yeah. No. Spice in this one, it's so interesting because, like, after rereading these and knowing what's coming in the Cassian and Nesta book, like,
Yeah.
truly think that the spice level in all the other books is like a chili pepper and a half or
Yeah.
like 2 chili
Yeah.
peppers. I'm like, this is like child's play in comparison to what's coming.
This is like fresh jalapeno. Like I think we saw
Yeah.
Feyre give a BJ in this book, which was a little bit, but
Yeah.
honestly, like fresh jalapeno.
Yeah, I would agree. It's like very like it's fine.
Entry
It's
level.
not entry level for sure. Well, I think that wraps up our ACOWAR coverage, which is wild. This is a beast of a book, and it was so fun to revisit this. For me, it was. Again, genuinely just loved like getting to be with these characters in this way again, getting to be in these different worlds and like the setup for the next book. I just am so excited about.
It's going to be worth it for A Court of Silver Flames.
That's right. And before we go, we've got one more thing. We're diving back into Quicksilver by Callie Hart. Apparently, I've made Emily a rereading addict because we are going to get a full reread ahead of Brimstone, which is the sequel to Quicksilver's release, which I'm really excited about.
I recently realized I did not even know what type of characters were in Quicksilver. So I now understand why a reread is necessary. You need to know the characters and the plot when going into a sequel.
If you are like us and you read Quicksilver for the first time and you were like, this was fun, Kingfisher's hot, Carrion's hilarious, but it wasn't like my favorite romantasy book, this recap will be perfect for you. It'll be one episode, a quick refresher on what happened, probably some thoughts and feelings on what we think is about to come in Brimstone, and it'll be out on October 26th. So if you're planning to pick up the sequel, or again, if you just are like, what happened and do I even want to read the sequel, come back and reread with us.
We'll keep it under an hour. It won't take up your whole morning. Just, it will be light fun, but you'll know what you need to know.
And, you know, I am going to end us on a sentimental note because it is honestly our dream to be able to just sit around, read books, and talk about them with you guys every day for the rest of our lives, which will hopefully be until we're 200 because we're witches. Every share, follow, comment, anything brings us one step closer to that dream and making it a reality. So if this episode or any of our other episodes made you feel something, anything, whether it was joy, heartbreak, or you're like, holy cow, these girls are crazy, send it to a friend, hit the follow button, subscribe, let us know your biggest hot takes or maybe medium takes too. We'll take all of them. And thank you for being here and being a part of our community. We couldn't do this without you.
So next Sunday, bring your blankets, bring your book boyfriends, and come chill with us.
We'll see you then.